Have you ever witnessed someone turn pain into something beautiful? There was this old guy on our street who everyone called Angry Eddie. He lived in this rundown house with peeling paint and a yard full of weeds. Every single day, kids would walk past his fence on the way to school, and Eddie would come storming out. "Get away from my fence!" he'd yell, waving his arms like some crazy person. "Stop making all that noise!" We weren't even being loud, just normal kid stuff like laughing or talking about homework. But Eddie acted like we were throwing rocks through his windows or something. My little sister Becca was terrified of him. She'd grab my hand and make us cross the street whenever we got close to his house. All the parents in the neighborhood warned us to stay away from Eddie's place. Then last spring, this massive storm hit our town. I'm talking branches everywhere, power lines down, the whole mess. When we walked to school the next morning, we saw that a huge tree had crashed right through Eddie's back fence. That's when things got weird. Instead of fixing the fence, Eddie started doing something completely different. He ripped down the rest of the broken fence. Then he pulled up every single weed in his backyard. We're talking about a massive yard here, probably bigger than a basketball court. For weeks, we watched him work out there every single day. He'd be digging holes, moving dirt around, carrying bags of something from his car. The guy was probably like 70 years old, but he was working harder than construction workers. Becca got curious first. One afternoon, she stopped at the edge of his property and asked, "What are you doing?" Eddie looked up, dirt all over his hands and face. For a second, I thought he was going to yell at her like always. Instead, he just said, "Making something beautiful where something terrible happened." That made no sense to us. What terrible thing? It was just his backyard. But Becca kept going back. Then I started going with her. Soon, other kids from the block were stopping by too. Eddie never told us to leave. He just kept working. After about a month, we realized what he was doing. He was planting flowers. Not just a few flowers like normal people do. This guy was planting hundreds and hundreds of flowers everywhere. There were bright yellow marigolds, white daisies, red roses, purple violets, and these amazing orange flowers I'd never seen before. He planted them in these perfect rows that made patterns when you looked at them from far away. Eddie started talking to us while he worked. He'd explain which flowers needed more water and which ones liked shade. He even brought out this old cooler filled with lemonade for us to drink. One day, my mom was walking with us, and she stopped dead in her tracks when she saw the garden. She got this really sad look on her face and pulled me aside. That's when she told me the truth about Eddie. His real name was Edward, and about 10 years ago, his wife and his 8-year-old son got hit by a drunk driver right in front of their house. They both died instantly. Eddie had been angry at the world ever since. He couldn't stand hearing kids laugh and play because it reminded him of what he'd lost. That's why he always yelled at us. But the flowers weren't random. His wife had loved gardening, and his son used to help her plant flowers every spring. Eddie was recreating their old garden, the one his wife had planned before she died. By the end of summer, Eddie's backyard looked like something from a magazine. People started walking out of their way just to see it. He put up a small wooden sign by the street that said, "Hope Gardens, in loving memory of Margaret and Tommy." Eddie doesn't yell at kids anymore. Now when we walk past his house, he waves from his garden and sometimes calls us over to see new flowers he's planted. Another full story linked below.